Hello, my name is Holly, and this is my literary autobiography. I apologize in advance for my less than magnificent speed drawings. I did my absolute best without taking 5 years per drawing. Up to now, how have literary narratives been a part of your life, and how have they influenced the person you are today? Ever since I was a little girl, my parents would read me stories. I always remember snuggling up in bed with them and hearing all sorts of different books. One that really sticks out in my head is The Three Little Pigs. I think that one must have been one of my favorites. But my parents also did read me Dr. Seuss books a lot. Once I learned how to read for myself, really strongly, in about first grade, I realized just how creative books were. I would always make my own little stories in my head or even bring some to life on paper. I would do illustrations, I would write the words, and sometimes I would make comics. I loved writing my own books and letting other people read them. In the second grade, I discovered the Michigan and American Chillers books by Jonathan Rand. I truly loved those books, and so did all of my friends. We even ended up writing our own mini-series called York Place Chillers. York Place was the name of our neighborhood growing up. I remember spending hours at our friend's house writing our stories and doing the illustrations, and I remember my friend's mom would help us type them up. I remember thinking they were so scary and that we were some of the best authors around. Although I was moving out a couple years ago, I came across the binder of them, and well, let's just say those won't be winning any Pulitzer Prizes this year. But they did end up in our district library on display for a couple weeks during October. That was really cool, and I will always remember that. Another thing I loved as a child were video games. I loved the idea of going on an amazing, epic adventure. And looking back, I see that I used video games to escape some of the tough stuff going on in my life that I didn't even realize was tough until I was an adult. My favorite was Pokemon, and it still is to this day. I still have all of my old Pokemon games. My teen years were a really tough time, and honestly, they probably were for everyone. And I really turned into my books. I was able to really relate to some of the characters. And I even thought some of the books I chose to read were incredibly depressing. There was something beautiful about them that kept me coming back. I could see myself in those books, the feelings I had, the things I was going through. One of the books I read over and over again as a teen was Cut by Patricia McCormick. Incredibly sad book, but I kept coming back over and over and over again because I felt right at home inside that book. And for whatever reason, being able to escape to my books made the real world an okay place to be. Fast forward to present day me. I still love books, I still love video games, and I love movies. Although now it is less about seeing myself in the media I consume. I really love a variety of books, movies, and games, and I actually love seeing different groups of people being represented. It has been incredibly interesting to watch my taste evolve over the last few years. Here are just a few of the books I've read since being in college. Literary narratives have always been an important part of my life. I can't wait to see how that relationship evolves 23 more years from now. Thank you so much for watching.